Welcome back to IceTime.TV, and we've kind of stopped doing the period interviews this season. We've brought it back one night only for a very, very special reason. I'm joined by a Devils legend, and just a legend in his own right, Mr. Jeff Smith. Jeff, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you very much.
So, Jeff, we could talk for 3 hours, but we've got one period intermission, so I'm going to break it down into stages. Hockey, the charity work with Everest, and your latest project. So let's start with the hockey first. And I don't know, maybe you're on a little bit of a pedestal for me, but the greatest moment for me in 31 years of following the Cardiff Devils was Wembley 1990, that day in April, penalty shootout against the Murrayfield Racers, where you made the final save of the game against Tony Hand to win the Devils' first ever playoff trophy. Can you encapsulate how that felt?
In words, probably not. In emotions, yes. I was watching the screen as I came in, and I just happened to be videoing it just to put it on Instagram, and I saw myself with hair, which is always something to behold. But no, it brings back a very warm, fuzzy feeling inside. But in words, no, I couldn't have written it any better, so it was an amazing event.
And what were those days like as a Cardiff Devil, those magical first 4 or 5 years, John Lawler, Steve Moria, the Cooper brothers, the emergence of Nicky Chin and Jason Stone? For me as a kid growing up, it seemed like a fairy tale. What was it like to play here?
Probably the same, actually. I think Johnny did a great job in getting an amazing team together, and I think the thing that was very interesting was watching how we gelled really quickly and managed to take on some of the giants of ice hockey, going up, getting promotion, and then actually winning everything, which was quite amazing. And
just the final one on hockey before we move on to the other stuff, Jeff. The game tonight, it's pretty scintillating, isn't it? How are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it, actually, and it's always good to come from behind. The boys have put themselves into a great position at 4-1, and hopefully we can get the result and we can actually go further in the competition.
So let's talk about what you've been doing post-hockey, and particularly the Big Moose projects. And you know, this is just such a great organization and helps a lot of causes, and has really sort of crystallized itself in one major event and one major new project now. Tell us about Everest. Tell us about Big Moose, what it stands for, and then tell us about Everest.
Okay, so Big Moose is a legacy that we've built around a friend of mine, Gary Moose Clunan, who played ice hockey with me at Streatham Redskins back in the day. He passed away 11 years ago from cancer. He was my best friend, and I decided to try and create a legacy for him where we could just do some cool stuff, raising money for different charities and trying to create some good causes. So we've created a disabled children's triathlon, lots of different things, and we've started moving into helping homeless people, which is a really big problem in Cardiff, which everybody who lives in Cardiff probably sees on the street, the same as you and I. And we decided that we would get involved and try and sort of donate some time and effort into feeding and doing some stuff with homeless people. But then I just didn't feel like I was doing enough, and I felt that somebody needed to do something, and then I realized that I was that somebody. So I decided that we would try and do something around actually employing homeless people in a way. So we've started to create a coffee shop in the city centre of Cardiff, which the profits will be used to actually employ and train and mentor homeless people.
And this is something, Jeff, you're very much doing with your daughter. This is a family project almost.
Very much so. My daughter's 23, Chloe, my youngest daughter, who lives in Cardiff. My eldest daughter's in London. And what I wanted to try and do was bring Chloe into the business mind of things. So she's been working with me on this project, and hopefully she can inspire other young women as well. So as she becomes a businesswoman in her own right, for the right reasons, hopefully she inspires people of her own generation.
So we've got a few people listening in tonight. How can people get involved? How can people help you? You know, I see that Neil Francis sent a tweet out. It was a very kind donation from the Cardiff Devils. If you kind of name a cup of coffee after the Cardiff Devils, is that the sort of thing you're looking for? How can people get involved and help you?
Over the next 4 days, we've set ourselves a huge target. We gave ourselves a target over a 7-day period to have a Kickstarter to try and raise £20,000, which is a huge amount of money, but we need quite a few pounds to actually get over the line to get the project finished and opened on March the 1st, which is the anniversary of Moose's death. So it's a pivotal time for us. We will achieve it, we will get the money, we just need to work really hard. We've got some great perks on our Kickstarter, so if you have a look on our webpage, which is BigMooseCoffeCo, there's links on our social media to Big Moose, and have a look at the Kickstarter. We've actually had somebody, I can't say who because he's too kind and doesn't want to be known, but somebody's actually given us a box at Cardiff City with 10 tickets with some hospitality, as well as some tickets from Franny, and we've also got some tickets for the France-Wales game. So if you're a sports fan, jump online, have a look, and hopefully you can see some perks that might interest you in helping us get that 20 grand over the line by Sunday night.
And I know the Streatham Redskins haven't been in the top tier of British ice hockey for quite some time. Indeed, since the Devils played them in 1989 in that promotion relegation playoff. But so many great names came out of Streatham, notably Moose, but also guys like yourself, Gary Bryan, Neil Brown. Just as a hockey community, a hockey family, you know, this is where we come together, isn't it? And it has the knock-on effect there of not only honouring a great servant to British ice hockey, but also helping homeless people in Cardiff.
That's very kind of you to say, but I agree with you completely that hockey is family. And when Franny rang me and messaged me and said what the Cardiff Devils were going to do, I got a little bit emotional, I got to be honest, because it's a part of my life, a massive chapter in my life, and the fact that people still remember the hockey that was played in the 90s, and myself especially, was just very moving, so it's very emotional.
And Jeff, I'm not letting you get away. You skipped over Everest. I had the pleasure of your company in the summer when you were telling me about that trip and some of the challenges you faced, and you know, when the lack of oxygen kicked in and what have you, and you were doing this on knee reconstruction, and you know, you're looking better at 50 something than I look at 35. So tell us a little bit about that Everest expedition.
Well, I decided to start climbing mountains because I missed the adrenaline rush of playing hockey, I have to admit, and mountains kind of gave me the physical challenge. So after a period of time, I climbed a few mountains and then felt I was in a position where I was confident that I could climb Everest. I went in 2014, but there was a huge accident on the hill which killed 16 Sherpa, and we all had to come home without actually making the attempt. But then I've gone back last year in 2017 in May and was very fortunate to get a great weather window and managed to get to the summit and do, which was probably the most important thing for me, which was to actually spread Moose's ashes at the top of the world for his wife, as she asked me to. Quite a bit of pressure, but managed it, so I'm very proud of the trip.
So you should be. You're a hero certainly for doing that. And just before you go, Jeff, remind the people at home again of that website address, how they can donate, support the formation of this coffee business prior to the 1st of March, and help not only the memory of Moose, but the homeless community in Cardiff. How can they get in touch? How can they help you?
BigMoose.co is the website, check that out, and also have a look at the Kickstarter campaign and have a look at some of the perks. There's some really cool ones on there, and I'd love to see, even if you can't actually commit to donating any money, it would be great if you could actually just tell your friends, spread it on social media, and then when we are open, come and have a coffee.
Jeff, it's always an honor to talk to you, not just because you were a boyhood hero of mine as a Cardiff Devils fan, but for everything you've done for charity since leaving the hockey game. Thank you so much for joining us on IceTime.TV, and if we can do absolutely anything going forward, please just let us know.
Thank you very much indeed.